The Advancement of Learning by Sir Francis Bacon. Summary and analysis of Proficience and Advancement of Learning, Divine and Human. Hello and welcome to the discourse. We are discussing the works of Sir Francis Bacon, the father of empirical method. He joined the Trinity College of Cambridge University at the age of 12. He was the first who became the Queen's Counsel, and King James I made him his Lord Chancellor. Many people believe that Bacon was the real writer behind all the dramas and poetry written by William Shakespeare. However, all these achievements were smaller in comparison to his brilliant philosophical mind that paved the base of modern science and technologies through the Baconian method that he introduced and supported. The learning environment in which Bacon himself was taught was hugely inspired by Aristotelian ways and largely depended on memorizing and mimicking the classic books. Bacon realized that it is not the way for the advancement of science and technology which were proving to be necessary to satisfy the growing needs of the populace. Thus, he proposed a new way of learning, which is the inductive reasoning. He stressed that instead of parroting the old classics, scholars should strive to objective learning and experimentation and to extract new knowledge from the nature itself through inductive reasoning. He mentioned his new approach towards science in the book The Great Instauration, which he planned to divide in 6 parts. We have already discussed the summary of Great Instauration and the second part, Novum Organum, which were published in 1620 in the previous video. The Advancement of Learning was written in the year 1605 and it was an introduction to the Great Instauration. Basically, it was a letter that Bacon wrote to King James I. However, it was so deep and important that it was later converted into book form and was divided in 2 books. The original title of the letter by Francis Bacon was Of Proficience and Advancement of Learning, Divine and Human. The Advancement of Learning, Book 1. The first book of Advancement of Learning appreciates King James I as a learned ruler who is keen to support the advancement of learning natural philosophy and sciences. Bacon praises King James I while contradicting the biblical King Solomon, who once opposed the quest of knowledge and said that knowledge only leads to anxiety. Solomon argued that one should not strive to get knowledge because it brings only anxiety to the inquirer, as he comes to know that he actually knows nothing, while the knowledge is vast and insurmountable. Solomon suggested that people should avoid vain philosophy as it ruins peace and brings disharmony and anxiety. In his letter, Bacon offers a philosophical argument against Solomon's opinion by explaining the difference between pure knowledge and proud knowledge. Bacon suggests that proud knowledge leads to fall of man from grace and leads to atheism, skepticism, disharmony and discontent. On the other hand, the pure knowledge is about the natural world that benefits the man. Pure knowledge is inspired by wonder and a sense of awe in the vast mystery of the universe. Pure learning inspires the man to perpetually strive to understand the creation of God, while it also protects him against conceit and fraud. Pure knowledge is so vast that a man soon realizes that no matter how much knowledge he gains, he will always have a lot to learn and know more, and this inspires humility and a sense of serving others through the gathered knowledge. So Francis Bacon suggests that pure knowledge will help a person in raising their standards to lead a better life and the standards of the life of society, whereas proud knowledge will lead to atheism. Bacon further suggests that atheism is just a midpoint in the way of learning, as once a person dedicates himself for deeper, further knowledge, he is destined to attain pure knowledge, and then he will realize the faults of proud knowledge and again will turn towards the God's grace while moving away from atheism. In order to strengthen his argument, Francis Bacon invoked the example of Martin Luther and how he revived the ancient authors and encouraged people and philosophers to read ancient texts and learn the pure knowledge hidden in them by themselves. Martin Luther was the paragon of Protestant movement who encouraged independence against the orthodoxy of Roman Catholic Church and inspired the way of individual learning about the God and nature by reading books and gaining knowledge by their own. Bacon suggests that Martin Luther gained and propagated pure knowledge which proved to be beneficial and productive. Thus, Bacon suggests that knowledge will bring proficiency if it is led by charity, as then it is the pure knowledge. Advancement of Learning Book 2. In the second part of the Advancement of Learning Book 2, Francis Bacon mentions three objects that constitute an act of merit towards learning. The three objects that he mentioned are: first is places of learning, second is books of learning, and third is persons of the learned, persons from whom one can learn. These three objects constitute or define the merit of learning. So there are the things that a scholar must be aware of before he begins to learn. First is places of learning, which includes governmental institutions or institutions supported by government through endowments. Second is books of learning, which include libraries and the houses of relics of ancient saints. For example, we can learn a lot about Indian freedom struggle by visiting the Sabarmati Ashram, which is the house of relics of Mahatma Gandhi. Books of learning also include authored editions of knowledge, that is, books. Bacon mentioned books of learning as authored editions of knowledge. Persons of learned are readers and inquirers, seekers of knowledge. Bacon then explains human understanding by dividing it in three parts, which are: first is history, second is poetry, and third is philosophy. History is related to a man's faculty of memory. Poetry is related to his faculty of imagination, and philosophy is related to the man's faculty of reasoning. Bacon suggests that through the help of these three aspects of human understanding, these three faculties a man possesses, he can understand all the three aspects of knowledge, which are divine knowledge, human knowledge, and natural knowledge. Bacon divides history as divine history, which is the history of religion, political history, which is the history of states, and natural history, which is the history of living species and sciences. Bacon further divided poetry in three parts, which are: first is narrative poetry, second is representative poetry or dramatic poetry, and third is allegorical or parabolic or allusive poetry. Bacon actually applies inductive reasoning by dividing human understanding and process of learning in smaller descriptive parts to understand and explain the whole realm of knowledge. As mentioned above, this work, Advancement of Learning, was an introduction to the bigger work, the Great Instauration, or the Great Replacement in the way of learning. Bacon further divides philosophy in three parts. First is divine philosophy, second is human philosophy, and third is natural philosophy. He again divided divine philosophy in two parts, which are natural theology, that is the lessons of the God in nature, and second, revealed theology, or the lessons of the God revealed in sacred scriptures. Bacon explained human philosophy as the study of mankind as a whole and study of the individual as a part of the whole. It pertains to the self-knowledge through the study of mind and feelings, and thus resembles with modern psychology and psychoanalysis. For natural philosophy, Bacon offered four divisions: physics, metaphysics, mathematics, which include astronomy, architecture, engineering, and geographical studies, and medicine or medical studies. Bacon also mentions that all these parts of philosophy and knowledge are not alienated, rather they are branches of a big tree, which he termed as Philosophia Prima, also known as primitive or summary philosophy. Bacon then stresses that all parts of philosophy are important and that there can be two kinds of truth. One, as mentioned in scriptures, the divine truth or theological truth, and the other is the natural truth or scientific truth, which occurs in nature and can be extracted through inductive reasoning. Then he mentions Copernicus and his observation that the sun is the center around which our earth revolves, which was against the scriptural truth which says the earth is the center around which the sun revolves. Bacon then talks about knowledge, about man's body, and divides it in four parts: health, beauty, strength, and pleasure. He also talks about human knowledge and divides it in parts, divination and fascination. Bacon says that divination may lead to superstitions, but fascination will lead to appreciation of God's creation. The other division mentioned by Bacon is moral knowledge and civil knowledge. In the end of Book 2, Francis Bacon talks about rhetoric and transmission of knowledge. So this was all about the advancement of learning by Sir Francis Bacon. We will continue to discuss further works of Bacon in upcoming videos of this series while completing the Elizabethan era of English literature. Please stay connected with the discourse. Thanks and regards.